Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 62 of the Home Theater Hub. As you can see, there's three of us instead of four because someone
We're waiting
is
for Don to get drunk.
looking for just socks
Yeah.
or something. I don't know what Don is up to, but
Yeah. It's like,
you
oh,
know,
come on, man.
it's a wonderful day to be out here. As you can see, we have a special guest with us, one of the fastest growing home theater YouTuber out there. Guy who's been doing really great. George Theater at Home, as many of you probably know him. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Home Theater Hub.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Yep. What's up, Paul? Thanks for
Not much.
showing up before dawn.
Well,
Another day.
yeah. My computer and equipment decided to, act appropriately. So technically, I'm early for what I did, and I'm going with all light beers today, which some people may. I'm going for a variety pack from the Shiners.
It doesn't have fruit, a type of fruit on the
Not
name,
this
but
one. I'm starting off for all you
it's a blondie, right?
beer drinkers, and everyone knows where this is from. If they don't, then you can get an idea. I guess whatever. You probably know this more than anyone, right? Because this is where you're from, right? You know this brewery, the Texas. So starting off with a light, and then there's I have three other surprise flavors in here.
Okay, so looks like it's about to be a long evening.
Yeah, I mean, after seeing what Don had to cover up, yeah, I needed an extra one.
Look at him.
What's up, guys?
Posing in his beach house. You look like, some dude from the 70s, man, just chilling, relaxing.
Heck yeah, that's what you're supposed to do in your theater, right?
That's right.
Yeah, we can officially call it a theater now because
we got furniture.
Mm-hmm.
We got carpet.
Oh wow!
Oh, man. Yeah,
we got insulation.
Are you going to show?
Where's Miguel? Oh, my question is where's Miguel at now?
I am going to literally, and I talked about that today. Actually, I said, man, I'm going to make fun of you harder than I ever made fun of Don because, I mean, dude, you got a 4-year head start. I mean, and you still, didn't make it. Like, how did you not finish before Don did?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but
it's been a busy week, man. Busy week.
Okay, that's good. So, Paul, watching the movies this week?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Did I watch anything this week? I don't think I watched any movies this week. I think I was doing too much work, and I never committed to a full. But then again, I'm pretty sure I did. But I don't even remember. I did finish watching the last Star Wars, the final one.
Oh, so you're with your saga.
Yeah, completely. I watched all of them from release date. I watched the whole thing. So that's a couple of weeks. I didn't binge the whole thing, but I feel like I watched something else, and I don't remember what it was. I think it was probably a Netflix special movie that wasn't that memorable or whatever. I was like, oh, okay, watched it. But I don't remember the name of it. That's the problem. If it's not like just something super amazing, I did watch, which I might have watched that last week. See, I watch a lot. I watch so much I don't remember. I did watch Wicked. I don't know if I watched that, if I mentioned that last week.
No, I don't think you mentioned that last week.
Yeah, I did watch that. That was pretty good. I do want to watch that again because that was before. I don't think I mentioned it. I think I watched it last week before I changed the bulb. And I'm like, man, now I'm watching things I'm like, man, dude, it was still usable, but it was literally running like 20% brightness of what it was capable. I was like, man, gosh, I guess that really makes a difference. So I bought a bulb. I got the new one in for the backup. So whenever you buy the Pro Cinema, you get a mount and you also get a spare bulb just in case. and I've never put in the spare bulb. Once I put that in, I went ahead and ordered another one. I'm just saying this. I don't know if it's true, but I ordered it directly from Epson. They're out of stock because I went to look to see, if I could order another one, because I want kind of two in the back end or backups. And I was like, oh man, they're out of stock. I might have ordered the last damn one.
Oh, wow.
They get more, or they get a replacement model for it. I don't know, but I have a backup always in the wing here, just in case, because you never know, lightning might cause your thing to flicker all of a sudden. And I need to get a UPS on the projector. Yeah. And that's in case people don't know, if you have any kind of projector or anything that produces a lot of heat, that has fans that it cools off once you turn it off, you really need a UPS. You don't need a UPS to be able to run it.
Yeah, just to give it enough
something like,
time,
I just had like their power flicker like twice. Let me go ahead and turn this off softly to where it literally soft turns off, and then you just wait for 20 minutes or whatever it is until the storm passes, because that on and off is what really ruins a lot of electronics, especially with anything that's required to slowly cool off instead of just turning off and then, with no fan on there, it's just sitting there baking itself.
Yeah, I always thought about getting one, but my concern was you got to put it in the attic, right?
That's the thing. Yeah, you definitely don't want.
You don't want to put a UPS in the attic.
You're not supposed to.
I'm going to put mine behind my projector box.
Yeah, but what you can do is you can get one of the smaller ones. Like I said, you don't need something that's going to power it. You literally only need
a 600 watt.
Like 1 minute, right? So you get one that's small enough. You can get little $50 ones that you can put on the top of the projector, unless it's inside of something, So, but yeah, you definitely don't want anything like that up in the attic, because that could cause a fire. So you definitely don't want that up in the attic.
So how about you, George? Did you get to watch? We usually start off just talking about if we got a chance to watch anything this week, and
actually use all this stuff that we talk about.
I know, right?
Yeah, I did actually. So it's Sundance Film Festival time up in Park City here. And so last night I went up there and I saw a new movie. It's got Benedict Cumberbatch in it, and it's called The Thing with Feathers. I think that's what it's called. I think it's either The Thing with Feathers or the Thing. Yeah, I think it's The Thing with Feathers. And it was very interesting. Is that
about birds?
I knew nothing about it. My friend bought the tickets, and so we showed up, and the movie started rolling, and I'm like, okay, I'm along for the ride. I have no idea what this thing is. And so
did you enjoy it?
What's that?
Did you enjoy it?
Did I enjoy it? Ooh, that's a good question. It was an experience. It was interesting. I'm curious to see if it gets picked up and put out, on some streaming service or something. So it was interesting. But the one that I really enjoyed was I went to the Cinemark Secret Cinema on Monday. Are you guys familiar with that?
Secret Cinema,
yeah. So what you do is you go on their website and you buy your ticket to the movie, and they only give you two pieces of information. They tell you the rating and when it starts.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's all you got. And so I went in and so everybody in the audience, like, nobody knows what it is.
It's an LOL
so the movie
surprise.
We saw it was a surprise. It was a surprise.
I gotta know what those are. The LOL surprises. He's got girls, right?
Those toys, right?
The balls
toys.
that have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got plenty of LOL dolls. That's a crazy segue. How did you even end up there? But,
well, because he said it was a surprise. So.
I know. But yeah, please go
Sorry,
ahead.
sorry. I apologize. I control myself sometimes.
No, you're fine. So yeah.
So you're hoping that it gets picked up. What was the premise other than with feathers?
Yeah. So it starts out. I mean, I don't want to give too many spoilers for people who end up watching it, but basically, it starts out. Benedict Cumberbatch. He's got 2 young sons. They're probably like 8 and 10 years old, and his wife has just died, and so he's going through the grieving process, and his boys are trying to make sense of it. And then kind of weird things start happening, and he starts seeing this weird kind of figure, kind of often like he'll be in a room and he'll kind of see this weird figure, this large kind of shadow in a corner of a room, and then eventually it starts kind of talking to him, and then things just kind of escalate from there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but it was very interesting. Very interesting. I think it's definitely worth seeing. I'll say that. So
Sounds like a scary movie. Can almost rule me out. I don't just scary movie.
it had its moments. It definitely did.
Ike's got to hold his blankie and cover up with it so that I watch those.
Always got to hold my blanket. Yeah, I don't do scary movies, especially if you're talking to random strange people. But that's okay. How about you, Don?
Well,
What
it's
did you-
been a lot of work this week and over the weekend. We're closing out the month in my regular job, plus a lot of work on the theater. Yesterday, I was getting supposed to have attic insulation blown in for the attic portion that I'm actually sitting in right now. There used to be a wall right here. So literally from here to the front wall is a garage attic. So need to put some attic insulation there. I still have to build the chute for here, or the hatch, I should say, to keep it closed. That was supposed to happen at 9 o'clock in the morning. I got a phone call saying, "Hey, 2 guys called out. They're not going to make it." And this is from my company. So we actually put in what's called cap insulation. It's got properties in it. It also has it also kills. It's got boric acid in it. Most people don't know boric acid is used in a lot of hygiene products. It's also used in eye drops and stuff like that. So it's non-toxic to us. It does kill like 8 or 10 different pests also. So it's serving a dual purpose, right? So I live in Florida, where it's the bug capital of the world. So just try to keep bugs out from coming into the theater too. So anyway, got a call saying 2 people called out, and we weren't going to be able to make it. I said, "Well, look, it's a small room. Just send a guy, and I'll help him load the insulation." I've done this 1,000 times, right? Just from being a sales manager, trying to get jobs closed out by the end of the month, just helping production team and everything else. So guy came out and literally blew insulation into the front half, and then you can't see the holes no more because there's Atmos speakers up there now.
Nice. Nice.
So we blew in insulation in all 6 holes and shot all around. So filled the cavity between the second floor and the first floor with probably about 8 inches of insulation all throughout to
That's a lot.
try to keep the sound from going up into my mother-in-law's room up there. So that way I can play some movies at night. But let me turn on some lights and give us a tour here. I might have to come back in because when I switch the camera around, it doesn't. So let's see. Turn this around. I just got to look up my nose perfectly. Let's see, more settings.
So we got another guest on the show.
Okay. Bring them on. Bring them on.
The kid doggy.
This dog, she's kind of a pest. she wants to be involved.
She doesn't look like a pest. She looks like she's relaxing.
Oh, came in.
You ready? Okay, let me.
Work.
I'm just
Didn't
gonna
even
zoom
have
in.
to- Didn't even
I'm gonna
have
zoom in
to,
on Dawn right now.
change.
Oh, okay.
So that's the 8-inch Martin Logan with the
Ooh.
angled baffle. Right next to that, unfortunately, is a light. I don't have it turned on. It does look on, but it's not turned on. I'm using this light right here to shine. So, but yeah, so those I don't have them positioned right. I just threw them in there as quick as possible. The carpet guy came and called me at 8 o'clock in the morning, said I'm on my way. I said, no way that you can come right now. About 1 o'clock, because I was up to 11 o'clock last night trying to get everything right. So this is the carpet. See if I can get it right here. I told you guys I didn't want a totally blacked out room.
Yep.
So it's got a nice little pattern to it. You can see my feet. Like Ike told me to get my feet out of the shot, so I'll get my feet out of the shot.
Yeah, I thought you were showing off your golf shoes when you first came in. I was like, man, what's he doing? Showing off.
Man, those are my old school Felines, man. You can't. Those are vintage. Those are like old school Jordans, man. I don't know those Felines.
I'm not feeling kind of creepy. No.
So now that you have the carpet installed, how do you like it? Because sometimes carpets are different.
So
after you installed,
ask me if you'd asked me this about 5 hours ago, when it was full light in here, I could. So you can see the pattern. This is side to side. This is the way that the carpet runs. Well, in order not to have a bunch of seams, they ran it in 3 different pieces. Piece back here, one piece from here to the riser,
yeah,
and then the riser itself. So in order to do that, to where they were 3 separate pieces, but not seamed together down the middle, like horizontal that way, they had to run it sideways, and I hate it. I hated it. But when you couldn't see the pattern, right? And I was telling myself, well, if you can't see the pattern, why'd I even buy carpet with a pattern and spend the extra money on everything else? Because the sunlight was shining on it. But once the sun went down, I like it a lot, and my wife loves it too. So she was so excited about it that she was like, "Let's move the couch." And that's what I was doing, literally till like 10 minutes before, trying to get onto the show. I moved the couch. The kid was jumping around doing cartwheels. I had the one seat back here. So, and then moved the bar in. Yeah, man, it's taking place. It's definitely taking place.
Well, put my name on the bottom of one of those bar seats.
I know, right?
Yeah,
because that's where I'd sit.
Yeah,
man.
We all built this theater together, man.
Well,
the problem with the bar is I'm gonna have to move this. When I don't have people, I'm gonna put this bar up against the wall. When I don't have enough people, I'm gonna put it up against the back wall.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna move these seats back some, because to start, I'm gonna have mounted speakers back here 11 inches off the wall, because they're 11 inches deep. So it's gonna be a little back here for speakers. I will probably change them to in walls at some point, or on walls at some point, if I can find a good Martin Logan on with the same drivers. But more than likely, it's going to be an in wall that I will probably change. But we'll see how it goes first. So yeah, so this is the room, man. I'm enjoying it.
I don't know that you realize it, but you just invented a whole new carpet line. You know how you have like the theater black paint and all that? That's like basically you're painting on felt. And if you touch it, you ruin it. Well, now they need to make carpet to where you literally cannot see, or it doesn't reflect any light in one direction, aka the direction that the projector is going, or the TV or the projector screen is coming. But from left to right, you can see the pattern clearly. So that's a whole new genre of carpet. They could do that. And hey, with reflective light. Now, granted, you'd be kind of limited in this scenario if they did it, if they were thinking going one direction, right? Because then you'd be stuck with 3 seams. But if they, design it, where they can either have an L or a W version, where are we going to have to put this in lengthwise or width, and depending on how the light reflects off the screen, you could make it disappear. So you could do like a really brilliant pattern that you have like low level lighting like just an inch off that lights up, and then you see this pattern. But then once the movie happen or starts, you turn off those side lights, and there's no reflection from front to back. It's like it doesn't reflect whenever it goes that direction. So yeah, man, you need to patent it, man, already.
I think you just came up with that idea. I think you
I
should
know,
patent
Hey
that.
man, I thought of the idea based on a problem that you stated you had. That's because, but hey, let's face it, I'm not.
But yeah,
I'm
you've
not
made a
going to
lot
be a
of
carpet guy. So any carpet people out there, give Don and me that free carpet install whenever you invent it and make it.
yeah, you've made great progress, man. So we might see this theater
Oh, this
in
is what I wanted to
2025.
see. Is the entryway if you open the door and back up with the carpet, because that right there, I was like, God dang, that's a harsh carpet. Like, man, your carpet guy was obviously pretty good, because that's always tough. Like all those corners and all that, man.
Yeah.
That right there is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they matched the pattern here, but because it folded down,
Well, yeah,
that
there's only
pattern,
so much.
yeah,
But
yeah,
based on
yeah.
your experience, okay, which way is the best? Where do I match it the best to make it to where it's not distracting? Because
Right.
there's no way you're gonna match all of those corners. But that looks great, man.
Yeah, that's great progress, man. I'm just glad we
Yeah.
get to see the theater in 2025. So
Well, I'm hoping to have the screen up this weekend. My wife asked me the question. She said, "When are you going to put the projector up?" I said, "About 30 seconds before the screen goes up." so the projector is going to be back here. So I'll be.
What projector are you going to put in?
So I have the NZ8.
Okay.
So eventually I'll go to an NZ9. I mean an N900,
Yeah.
an N900. So, but yeah. So this is going to be a showroom. I'm a dealer, and I'm sorry. I know we haven't officially met. I'm kind of running in here, so I apologize for being tardy. I usually like to meet all the guests a couple
I'm the
minutes
tardy one.
beforehand.
Yeah. I'm
So, but yeah. So we I literally getting all this, like, because my wife said, let's put the couch in. So of course you got that. And over here I'm gonna put a panel of some sort here. I was gonna do another door, so I'm gonna frame it out and put another panel that has like I saw these hinges that like pop out.
That's
They pop out,
exactly what I would do. Yep.
and then they slide, and then you can slide back so that the panel will just slide back in place, and you won't even know there's a door there.
Yep.
So, and windows, those of you that don't know, I am going to have panels go over the windows. This window here, I will have it on some sort of hinge, just like that. This leads to my front door, so that way I can, if it's at the front door, I can see them through this window. Wife has already talked about coming in here and reading and stuff like that, so I probably will make the windows as accessible as I can, to where I put like a box on them with some insulation in between, but the whole thing will pop out to be able to get some light in here while we're not watching movies and stuff.
okay.
So yeah, so we're gonna get back to our guest now. Enough of Don's theater.
Yep.
It looks good, man. It looks good. It's you're taking away my my poking point here. So damn it. Now what am I gonna? I'll pick on you for something else. I'll figure it out.
I'll go to my computer. I'll be back.
All right.
Yep. See you on the other side.
So all right. So George, how long have you had or have been doing your YouTube channel?
So I started getting serious about YouTube about 11 months ago.
Okay. And when you started, what was your vision, or what was your idea or what you envisioned, hey, this is how I want to do things and how I want people to perceive me or what I do, not maybe you personally.
Yeah, that's a great question. I kind of went into it with the objective of basically just meeting and surrounding myself with other people who love home theater as much as I do. I do have two brothers who really enjoy home theater. One of them lives near me, and he put in a home theater in his house. But beyond that, I don't really know anybody in my life that just loves home theater. And so I think my family got tired of hearing me talk about it. And so I'm like, maybe I should talk about it with people who actually care about this stuff. So I figured I'd start a YouTube channel, and then I could talk all I want. And then only the people that actually care about home theater would actually, they could choose to listen to me if they
Interact,
wanted
yeah,
to.
good or bad.
Exactly.
With that idea, so now that you've been 11 months down, and how has it turned out versus how you envisioned it?
It has gotten way bigger than I would have ever expected. The response to my channel has just been unreal. I can't believe like that there's that many people out there that want to see the projects that I'm working on and the things that I'm thinking about, and so it has just been phenomenal. I like everybody who has watched my channel. I just can't thank them enough. It's been awesome. Yeah, if you had told me that in less than a year I would be where I'm at with my channel, and I would have had everything that's happened over the last 11 months, I wouldn't have believed it. It's just been amazing.
That's cool. And right now you're still, I mean, relative, you're in the infancy of a YouTuber, really. So I mean, there's so much to overwhelm. So you're still having a great time, loving, like seeing the stars. And because the tough part that I always, and which is why I've never really done a YouTube dedicated channel, because I'm like, man, some of the things that I love the most, if you do them daily, like I love snowboarding, right?
Yeah.
But if I did that every day, all day, I would be like, man, I'm tired. Like I've done like 14 flips. I've jumped 40 feet in the air. Like what else? So okay, now what? I don't, which I've never done any of those things, but I'm just saying, like, it doesn't matter how much passion you have for something, there's a certain aspect where you'll get tired of it, or it's the same thing from other manufacturers. And that's where I find it tough, which you're not there yet. And I hope you get to that point where you have to decide how to project yourself for that. So have you ran into that at all in your short time? Like, oh, now all of a sudden I made a video about cables, and now I've got 50 friggin' cable manufacturers that want to, reach out to me. And it's like, oh God, like, wait, now this is work. It's not that you lost the passion. It's just, wait, now I've got to do something repetitively, and be fair and, be conscious of versus, just doing, one or two things. It's like, oh man, this is really cool, or this is okay. So how is that in all, like, with what you have access to now, which I'm sure will grow in the future, because it always does for people that have a good, that come into it genuinely, right? That like, hey, I have a passion. I want to share that passion. And those are the channels that usually just grow, because you can't fake that. You can't fake the passion. So, so how has all that's been handed, or how are you taking that and perceiving it? And then the ifs and thens that I'm sure will be coming eventually for you. What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I have thought about that because up to this point, obviously, I mean, this is just a nights and weekends kind of thing, like I just do this in my free time, what little bit of free time I have. And so it's not my real job, it really is just my hobby at this point. I think if it ever did become my real job, if it was something that I was having to focus on all the time, then I definitely that would be on my mind. Be like, okay, how do I kind of hold that back so that it's not, it's not becoming drudgery. It's not becoming, tedious or
the
monotonous.
ideas. And it's not, it's like trying to get creative with all of the things, right? It's like you can take 100 cables and you can make each one of those fun, but you need a creative idea to make each one of them. It's a cable. Everybody knows what it is,
exactly.
whether it's a RCA cable. It's like, okay, well, how do I make all 100 of these cables and videos be different?
Yep.
That's the tough part. That's the hard part, and you have to, and that's how you keep the passion, right?
Exactly. And that's kind of how I would approach it, to keep it like fresh so that it's not becoming monotonous. It's because I like solving problems. Like I like tackling a problem and figuring out how to solve it. And so I look at my YouTube channel as kind of like a challenge to figure out a puzzle to solve. And it's like, okay, what am I interested in right now? And how can I present that in a way that might be interesting to other people? And so that keeps it always fresh. I'm always working on something new because I approach it in that way.
I'm taking that as a nugget from what you said, because that's, how you can know like 99% of something, and people will ask, well, why do you still watch or do all this? It's like, well, there's always one little thing that you'll take away, whether it's a perspective from other people or whether it's, I never, I didn't know about that, or, there might be one little thing that you didn't know. And what you just said is going to be one of I was like, I never thought about that. The fact that some people may be interested in your process of solving a problem or doing something particular, because I, in my previous, not what I do necessarily now, but my job was to solve the problem as soon as possible at all costs. Money was no object. It's solve the problem now. Like I did not go to bed until the problem was solved. Like that's how it was. So sometimes you get stuck in that mindset, and
you
so
should have rubbed your feet first. And then you would.
Right.
But just to segue.
But I like that thought. It's like, some people like to see how you approach and solve. It's like, that's a good one. I never thought about that. I do that, but I just didn't think that other people would necessarily be interested in that aspect of it. But
yeah. So thank you to everyone who's currently watching in the chat. D Johnson. We had Gene Anthony, John. Everyday Jay. Thank you, Chris, and all our regulars. So if you are not subscribed to Theater at Home, please go check his channel out. Go give him a follow. He's doing really, really great. Taking the easy approach to everything home theater. So it's one of those videos you watch and you don't feel like it's complicated. It's always less convoluted whenever you watch his videos. It's always simple, precise, to the point. So go show him some love. But just to quickly segue, so George, tell us about your home theater journey, right? How did you get to where you were? What was that very first system or that first experience that pushed you down this incredible rabbit hole that we all just keep digging and never stop digging into?
That is true.
So my first experience where like the light bulb went off was when I was a kid. We had a 27-inch Sony Trinitron TV, and it had this little speaker on the front, which interestingly, as bad as that speaker was, it's still better than what you get in TVs now. But it wasn't great. And my light bulb moment was when I figured out how to connect the audio from the VCR up to our stereo system. We had one of those 80s multi-component, you had the tape deck, you had the equalizer, you had the tuner, those multiple components set up with two big massive speakers with 12-inch drivers. And when I figured out that I could run the audio from my movies instead of through the TV speaker, I could run it through those two big speakers. It just opened up the whole world to me. And I just, like, in that moment, I just saw the possibilities of what sound in movies in my home could potentially be. And that planted a seed in my mind. And so I got a subscription to Home Theater Magazine. So that dates me, because that was way,
I
way,
still
way,
have a
way
bunch
back
of
in the day. And so for years I had a subscription to Home Theater Magazine, but I didn't have any money. I didn't have any way to buy the equipment. I just dreamed about it. And then I just kind of shelved it for many years. And then finally, a few years ago, I got to the point where I had the space for a theater. I had the resources for the theater, and now we have unlimited information online. I mean, like, any information you could hope to access, it's out there. And so a few years ago, I think it's been 3 years now, a little over 3 years ago, I built the theater that I'm in right now. This is my main home theater, and it's a 9.2.4 Atmos setup. And I've got these 3 chairs here behind me, and then got a couch in front. I'll probably end up doing something different with this couch, but I've got an Anthem AVM 70 that's driving it's not driving my speakers. It's processing everything. And then for my amplifiers, I've got Outlaw Audio for my monoblocks. I've got a Buckeye amp for my height speakers, and then I've got 3 Crown amps for my sides, wides, and surrounds.
Which crown do you have? I just picked up a crown. I got the 4002. So I picked that up to do the near field 10-inch subs. I got a youth man deal on that thing, man.
Nice.
They're retailing for $1,300. I got it for $500.
Oh,
man.
sweet. That's awesome.
So yeah,
That is so
I
cool.
actually drove up about an hour and a half yesterday to go pick it up from the guy.
I know. Don messaged me and bragging about this. I'm like, all right, dude, I get it. It must be a Florida thing. People in Florida are throwing that shit out. They're like,
That's where the deals are.
I know, right?
Maybe people are dying and the wives don't want it. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
My screen came from that. So my old screen came from that, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have a black diamond screen in my garage that I'm not going to use, but I went and picked it up. It's like 133-inch 235 to 1, one of the first black diamond screens, and I saw it on like Marketplace, and so I called the guy up. The guy said, "Yeah, it's at my mom's house. Unfortunately, this was my dad's. He passed away."
Oh.
So yeah, you hit it right on the head there.
Yeah, man. Now I'm gonna have to think of that every time I drink more of I went from the light to the black lager, and I'm like, God dang it, man! Like,
I almost thought it was going to say Black Widow, but that's good.
Yeah, right. I'm drinking.
So what type of projector and screen do you have?
Yeah, so I have a 145-inch 16 by 9. It's a Dragonfly from Snap One.
Okay.
I guess it's Snap AV now, but
Actually,
or maybe it's Snap One now. I can't keep it straight. So it's an acoustically transparent screen. So I've got my 3 LCRs behind the screen, and then I've got up here, I don't know, you probably can't see it, it's too dark in here, but right above me is my Epson 6050. So
that's the same one Paul's got.
oh, nice. Very cool.
I recommend replacing the bulb every 3,000 hours. It makes a world of
Yeah.
Paul's got a spare bulb for you since it's sold out on the Epson website.
Oh,
Not
man.
all right. He probably
Yeah.
bought the last one.
Oh,
So-
dude, that would be my luck. I'm like, really? Seriously, I was like, wait, they're out of stock. Like, I just received one. Like, how? What?
They probably gave you one that was just sitting in a
I
drawer.
was gonna say it's like so dusty they had to dust it off before
They had to
sent
clean
it to
that
you.
thing and pull it out.
Like, oh, God, I didn't know we still had these.
We haven't shipped one of those in 6 years. Let's just go.
Yeah, we're laser now, dude. Get with the times.
Yeah, pretty much.
Laser. That's where it's at. Yep.
Yeah, it's a fun experience. So prior to building this home theater, did you have a different, maybe smaller, different home theater or different line of speakers, or this was your first deep dive and you literally jumped in both
Yep.
feet?
Yep. Yeah, this was my first. And I think and honestly, I actually recommend people don't take the approach that I took. I recommend to people, hey, get started with something. Grab a receiver, and even if you just have 3 speakers, 2 mains and a center, hook those up, to your receiver, and then maybe add some surrounds to it, and a sub, just kind of build from there. Because there's so much learning that happens as you go that route, as you build it out, and as you buy stuff, because you're not going to do it right the first time. It's just impossible to get it right the first time. It's a journey. It's a learning process as you go. So yeah, I kind of did it the wrong way, but fortunately my theater turned out really good. Like I got really lucky in a lot of ways, that it turned out as well as it did. But yeah, it's been fun. I had so much fun with this one that, for everybody that's been watching my videos on my channel, I'm building a second theater upstairs.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, you saw. Okay, cool. Yeah, and that one has just been a ton of fun, because I kind of treat it kind of like a lab, where it's like, oh, okay, let's try this out. It's like it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just kind of an ongoing experiment.
It's a good spot to review gear too, right? Because now you don't have to swap in and out your stuff, And if it's really good, then it makes the move to the real theater, right?
Yeah.
So that's great that you have that secondary space. I'm going to ask you a question that we had last week. So did you get any help designing your theater, or did you do it yourself?
Well, I had lots of help, but it was all from like watching YouTube videos and on the AVS forum and Facebook groups, etc. So I didn't have like an integrator to work with me. Nobody was working with me directly. So I was just looking.
When you designed your theater in your head, what was your most important aspect of your theater? Like, what was the question last week, like that we had?
So what were the top 5 things you considered, right?
Someone's building
Coming
this
into
theater,
coming in from
top
scratch.
5
You're not
things?
an integrator, or you're not a pro.
Yeah.
Right.
What were the 5 things you considered? And now that you are way more experienced, would you rearrange the order? Would you replace anything in that top 5?
Yes, yes. That's an excellent question. Okay, so the thing I wanted incredible sound. Like I wanted sound that would just knock my socks off. I wanted sound that anybody that I brought into my theater would just be stunned at hearing something that they never expected to hear in a home theater. So I wanted the sound, and so I focused on getting really good speakers. But I also it was kind of a trade-off though, because I prioritized the aesthetics. I have all in-wall speakers, which typically we think of in-wall speakers as kind of it's a compromise, right? Like you sacrifice a little bit of sound quality,
It is. Yeah.
but you have the added benefit of, they're basically invisible, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I was focused on that, but what I did not know at the time, what I didn't understand in the beginning was what a massive difference sound treatment makes to treat your room. And I honestly can't remember the moment or when I got clued into that fact, but I'm watching all these YouTube videos, I'm doing all this research, and I came across this idea of treating the room. And I had never heard sound in a treated room before, in like a home theater, aside from like a commercial cinema. And so I was like, okay, yeah. And when they described like the fatigue in the ears, you're listening at loud volumes, and it doesn't even have to be at loud volumes, but just like an untreated room, it kind of grates on your ears, right? So I'm like, okay, I need to treat this room. And I didn't really know what I was doing as far as like placement and types. So I did a lot of research on that. And then I still didn't know a ton,
Right.
but I
right.
knew just enough to get it set up. And the difference was night and day. I would say that if somebody is starting out building a home theater, at the top of your list needs to be treating your room, because bang for your buck, getting better speakers definitely makes, that definitely improves your room, a better projector, upgrading your projector. These things all increase the experience,
The
in your room.
experience. Yeah.
But a well-treated room is, that is just
Unbeatable.
second to none.
I totally agree with that. And it's funny because you crossed like 3 of the things that I had mentioned. Because to me, at first I started like aesthetics. Like that's number one to me always. And regardless, but then I changed it to like, well, who's it for? I was like, okay, are you doing this just for you? Or you do, because that's going to change your aesthetics, and everything else. But yeah, sound, we all agreed upon, but to me, I was just kind of clumping that in to, if you've done audio for a really long time, that sound, the room controls like most of the sound.
Yeah.
And so that just goes without saying, but but yeah, for someone new, you know what, I gotta say, I'm probably wrong. I need to redo that, because especially if you're limited on budget, we weren't talking about budget though, that's the problem, that's what threw it out. But yeah, if you're on a budget, people really need to understand that, you're 100% right. Room treatment for audio, that is the most underrated thing in all of the everythings, where someone that's been doing it for a while, they know it's like, well, it doesn't matter what speaker you can get $100,000 speaker. If you're in a glass room, it's going to sound like crap. Sorry. I mean, it just doesn't matter. That's just physics. So you need to treat the room. So to me, it was just like, oh, you need to do, these are the 3 steps I have. But again, that's unlimited budget. But treatment, that's because sound is probably, let's be honest, because everybody's watching a TV at home, right? Yeah. So what's the difference between just watching a regular TV and then calling it a home theater? It probably is the sound. And treatment is probably the number one, or one of the.
So on Tuesday night, I was on the phone with you guys. I don't know if you guys remember Abe from 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he was on a while ago, industry professional for 30 years. And I was on the phone with him, and we probably talked for about 6 hours. We're doing a project. And we probably talked about 6 hours, and I'm going to pat myself on the back. In a dedicated space, he advised that seating was the number one thing, because the way he described it was, if you take a string to your speakers,
mm-hmm.
they all tie back to your seat. You take your screen, it ties back to your seat. The distance of your throw distance and everything else all ties back to your seating position. And the size of the everything that you can think of all ties back to the seating, and the way he put it together was excellent. You know, like, just think about it: tie a string back to your seat for every piece of your theater. They all tie back together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I you know, I just we were just talking. And I said, hey, did you happen to catch the show? And he said, oh yeah, by the way, seating's you were right on seating.
Nice.
In his opinion and my opinion, you know what I mean? Everybody's going to have their own opinion, of course, but I 1000% agree with you on you have to treat the room too.
Yeah, it's all
And I
it's
think-
all perspective on what you're, and I agree. It's all
And I think if you're starting off right, the
Well-
treatment can make your
yeah,
can save you a lot of money, right? Where you don't, for example,
Yeah.
a lack of treatment can make your $10,000 speaker
Well,
sound
if
like
you think about it, your
$600.
your treatment is
like
based
Don
on where
said-
you sit too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
yep.
I totally understand where that is and why that is a thing, because everything's perspective, right? Like if you're wearing headphones, you're perfect, right? Like everything is where it's supposed to be because you only have 2 ears, right? But if you're doing multiple people, yeah, you have to, especially if you want something from the rear to the sides. I understand that. I as far as like if you're going for the precision of the audio representation as close to binaural as you can get, that yeah, you're right, that would be the thing. But that's where everybody has a different perspective, right? It's like, is it the science of the audio and the getting close to spatialization, or is it the aesthetics, or is it the the fatigue, or the intelligibility, right? Because that's where your treatment, right, comes in.
Yeah, and I mean the list is not
There's
designed.
so many
The,
things.
the
Yeah.
list is not meant to be permanent, right? And that's
Right.
why I asked, when you
Yeah.
started, there were certain things you thought were, this is what I
Yeah.
need to do. And then the more time you spend, you realize,
The only reason, everything commingles together, but the only reason I don't do seating first is like, okay, I got 5 rows. Well, what does that mean? I can't do my theater the way I can't do my theater on
Well,
a
at
$250,000
that point,
budget.
it would be the MLP at that point.
yeah,
Well, in that case, it's only the one position. And to me, it's like, well, I could just move my MLP wherever I could move it based on the room.
Hence the reason for presets, right? So
Yeah.
if you got we're
we're
talking
about a newbie
It's
here,
like-
right?
I was just talking about my
What?
wife with my wife in the theater. She's like, the couch is my spot. She said, where's your spot? I said, well, if I want to just watch a rom-com with you and get a foot rub, then the front, right? If I want to do some critical watching, it's going to be in the back. I said
in the back seat, because that's where you're gonna. Okay,
and I
Yeah.
said, and I can change. I said I can change the main listening position too. So I'll do 2 different setups to where boom, boom, right? So
yeah, but you see,
That's awesome.
this is
He's got a
knowledge.
foot rub. He's got a foot rub button.
But this is
That's what we
knowledge
do.
gained from years of experience, right?
Yeah,
Not,
of course.
oh, I'm just starting off, and I'm watching a few YouTube videos out there and I don't really know what to do, So that was kind of what led to that,
Yeah,
to
of
that,
course.
to that conversation. And, we just want to be able to get your perspective because you never know who's listening
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
who's trying
Absolutely.
something out. But yes,
One-
I think.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I think, for anyone out there who's new in this, if you already have a set of speakers, before you go around and try to sell it off and buy some more expensive one, try to make sure your room is treated.
Yeah.
That could be the difference between $5,000 and $15,000.
Yeah.
Try to give
Well,
it some proper treatment.
George, I'm sorry, I missed what speakers that you had.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention that. Yeah, so I ended up going with the Golden Ear Invisa in-wall. So
Nice.
I've got the SPS. It's their flagship in wall for the LCRs, and then I've got the MPX for my wides and my surrounds, and then I use the 650s for my heights and also for my surround. It's kind of a long story. That question
got
about
the
like
Super
what
Center
would you do
too?
differently? There's a whole bunch of things, but yeah. So yeah, I have Golden Ear in Visa.
So you don't have any external speakers. Your LCR is all in wall also.
Yes. The only not in wall speakers I have are my front height speakers.
Okay.
And what I ended up doing with them, this just kind of speaks to like, when you kind of don't have a master plan to begin with. What I ended up doing was I had originally the Golden Ear 650s for my front heights, but I took some measurements after they were installed, and my off-axis frequency response was terrible. There was just a lot of sound that was not making it back here to my main listening position. So I removed those 650s from the fronts, and I replaced them with some Kef bookshelf speakers. And those I've got trained direct, they are directed right at the main listening position. And then I repurposed those 650s for my sides. I added them for the sides. So yeah.
So that's funny that you got the Golden Ears, because that's what got me going down this rabbit hole. I've read a review, and it's like an online publication, Secrets of Home Theater or Secrets. I forgot what it is now. I can't even give them the right.
Is it hometheaterreview.com?
It's like Secrets something. I forgot. I'll have to look it up. But
okay.
Anyway, they had a review on the Golden Ears, and I was like, I've got to go hear these. So I actually was living in Tallahassee at the time, and I drove about 2.5 hours to the closest dealer for Golden Ear, which was in Gainesville. And I hated traveling Gainesville. If you know anything about Tallahassee and Gainesville, they're rivals at Florida State versus Florida. So I hated to even have to drive into Gainesville, but but yeah, no. I mean, talk about the Triton 2s, and man, those are some phenomenal speakers. And I was going to go with the Triton 2s, the Super Center, and then the same end ceilings that you have. So that was going to be my setup. So you're bringing me back down memory lane now. So
nice.
I haven't listened to these speakers, but I know they got this really cool looking towers, right? The one with the red.
I started off with the DefTechs, right? And then somebody told me, said, well, look, the guy that designed DefTech, Sandy, he's over at Golden Ear now. Go listen to Golden Ear. And I was like, man, and then I listened to them there, and then I also listened to them at Exponent. I actually met Sandy up at Exponent. He was doing his demo, and they have woofers in them already too. So eventually, I thought about doing 4 towers, for LC left and right, and then surrounds. So I would already have subwoofers built in. Yeah. So yeah, that was a plan for the Golden Ear. So I know you have a good sounding system. The Golden Ear is phenomenal.
Yeah, they're not cheap. You're not cheap in walls.
Yeah, no, I kind of dove headfirst in.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think those are as much as we try to encourage people not to burn money until you really know what you like, because you can spend all that money and still not like either the sound or just the style of what you want, or the signature. I think that's the right term, of either the speakers and things like that. But there's still certain things that you might get away with just crying once, right? And just sticking with it in walls, right? Once you cut the hole in your drywall and you install 9 bed layer speakers, God help you, you better love them.
unless you're
Because-
unless you're like Jeremy, your theaters at home, you upgrade to the Utopias.
Yeah,
right?
but then you still got to do drywall work, right? Because you will rarely buy two in walls that would just fit the same cutout.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible, even within the same brand, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
once you cut your drywalls, if you're gonna replace them, you got to do some drywall.
You're committed. You're committed at
Yeah.
that point.
So in that place, right? Yeah, you can cry once, but
Yeah.
everything else, yeah, with moderation. Find out what you like.
Yep.
Don't run out
I do
there.
recommend people listen, especially if you're going with in walls for that very reason. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a funny story. So my one brother, he has the Golden Ear Triton. I believe it's the Triton 2s. And so my other brother, he was building a home theater, and so he talked to the first brother, and he's like, "Hey, what do you recommend?" And he's like, "Hey," he says, "you've got to check out Golden Ear." So that brother, he built out his home theater using the Golden Ear Invisa speakers. And so then he had me over to hear them. And when I listened to them, I was like, yep, those are my speakers. That's what I want. So I was able to listen to them before I cut all the holes, fortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the towers that I was looking at.
Yeah.
I was going to get the Triton 2s. I wasn't getting the references because they were like $9,000 a piece or something like that.
Yeah.
But they sound phenomenal though.
Yeah. The Golden Ears, they really do have just some amazing speakers for sure.
Let's see. Oh, they got on-wall speakers now too. Look at that.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
Oh no.
It's a cinema
Dude, you're not
series.
even done with you haven't even installed the screen yet.
Oh, this is for a different area.
Oh.
This is for your backup theater.
Do they make 100-inch on-wall for my 100-inch TV?
That is true. Yeah. So if what would you call a home theater? When is it a home theater or just a TV with good sound?
That is an endless debate.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, right?
Yeah, I know. It was a setup question.
It's a trend likely. You might get a few comments.
To me, I'm like, you might say, some people will say, hey, more than one row is a theater. Because when you go to a theater, but I mean, a home theater, it's like, okay, just good sound, right? Because everyone has a TV that you can watch, but is it the size of the TV or the size of the screen?
Yeah.
Is it how loud the sound goes? Is it how many rows of seating? Is that what makes a home theater, right? That's a tough question. It was a setup question.
I think the definition has definitely changed, right? Especially with the pandemic that happened. But yeah, it's okay. I think it's a space that is big enough to have different types and different flavors that is entirely different from what we always knew it to be, which was a closed space with a projector on the screen and a bunch of speakers, but yeah, now the style has changed. You can have a living room space, you can have a TV in there and still, get similar experience. The delta is not always
For
as
me,
crazy as people make it look.
For me, I think real quick, which one of these in-walls did you have, George?
The SPS.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my LCRs are the SPS, and then scroll down a little bit. Oh yeah, that's good. You can expand out on that. So yeah, those are my mains and center. So they're all matching. Obviously, I've got 3 of them, all vertical. The construction guy who was framing out my basement for me, he's like, oh, I do it all the time. He's like, I'll frame you in a horizontal cutout, so that you can install it horizontal. I was like, no, I want it vertical.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just three vertical SPS for those.
You're
And
lucky he
then-
didn't put it in the ceiling.
Yeah, no. Fortunately, I
92
didn't- I didn't
dB
go that
sensitive. That's pretty good too.
Yeah, that's
that
pretty
is.
good.
That's
At
pretty
4
dang
ohms
good.
too, man. At 4
Yeah.
ohms, that's not bad.
Frequency response 34 to 25K. So, more than enough. Damn.
Yeah, and I'm currently driving those 3 speakers with the Outlaw Audio monoblocks. So
Oh.
they're
Oh, wow.
200 watts
Plenty of power.
per channel.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's plenty of power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then you said you got these ones for your surrounds.
So actually they didn't have the JPS when I wish they did though, because I actually prefer that design over the ones that I did get. So yeah, I have the MPX for my wides and my rear surrounds.
So on the wides, it looks like they're
Yeah,
they're angled 2 different ways
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah.
That's
almost,
pretty cool.
Almost
Yeah.
like a bipole, but not.
That's
Nice.
pretty
Yeah.
cool.
They do actually work pretty well for that reason, because one of the drivers is angled kind of
To your
it's
MLP and
forward,
to the
but
back.
it's angled back, which is nice. So
And they got the air motion tweeter too, like I like. So, well, that's the folded ribbon.
The
Yeah.
photo ribbon.
Air motion tweeter. Yep. Yeah, I think that's why I like that sound. The sound of the golden ears, because it's got those.
It gives you the Martin Logan vibes, right?
Yeah, man, they're a good they're a good sounding speaker. They really are. I almost pulled the trigger on them. Michael's grin from ear to ear got me to buy the Martin Logans when he reviewed those. So he couldn't hold back how much he really liked them. So
that tipped you over.
yeah, that tipped me over. Yeah,
Nice.
I had to go to Best Buy the next day and listen to them. So yeah, so that's what we're doing in my theater, all Martin Logans. But yeah, no,
Nice.
Golden Ear's a fantastic speaker, man. I'd love to hear what that sounds like.
If you ever make it out here, I would love to demo it for you.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Where are you located?
So I'm out here in Utah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it like below 0 there now?
It's pretty cold. Yeah. It's getting below freezing
Ooh.
down here. So
Yeah. We're gonna come out there in August, not right now.
right. Yeah, August is really hot. But if you come in like March, April, you might find a decent day.
Yeah, it's annoying in the Midwest because we were -4 last week, and this week I think we're like 60. It's like, wait, what? Like that's a whole.
Can't make up its mind.
That's an opposite spectrum.
Yeah, I think it hit like 78 here today. So
Oh my gosh.
Like,
Wow.
man, everybody was still wearing their sweaters.
it was 50. It was cold in the morning. It was like 50, 54, 58. Then it warmed up to about 78. We get all 3 seasons in one
a day,
here.
right?
Yeah.
I don't like it. Like you leave the house in the morning and you get all your sweaters and everything, and then you go out at 11 o'clock in the morning and it's like
Yeah,
sweating. It's like-
Texas was cold last week too, man.
It was cold last week, but
Texas got like
it's been raining now. Now it rained like cats and dogs all of yesterday, man. And we had flash flood warnings all over the freaking place, and even the schools were sending out like, "Hey, feel free to come to school late today." I was like, "Wow, okay."
Yeah, I told my wife our 1 week of winter is over.
yeah.
The thing that you don't want
better,
is it to jump straight to summer, though. Because it will in a hurry.
Yeah, that's true. You don't want to start summer that early.
Where are you at, Don?
So I'm in South Florida. I'm west of Boca Raton. So
okay.
I'm on the east coast of South Florida, but just west of Boca Raton. My town is unfortunately known for a mass, well, not a mass shooting, but just a school shooting for Parkland. So I'm not sure if you. So yeah, so
Wow.
that's how we're infamous, unfortunately.
Wow. Yeah. Yep. Definitely heard of it. For sure.
So yeah. So.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's where I'm at. I wasn't here when it happened, but we had moved here The school, believe it or not, the school districts are like phenomenal here. So that's the reason we moved here. So for my
Nice.
son.
All right.
Damn, Paul, you're
we're
knocking those
changing
things down
subjects.
today.
These are the light ones, though.
Oh, okay.
These are 4%. All the ones that I usually drink are like 9 to 15%. So when you get the light ones, they
Wow.
but I got a different one. So
It's just the names that I just don't know, man.
well, that's because you know I'm not as bland as everyone else. I got a variety as the spice of life, man. This week I might be listening to clips. Next week I might be listening to Martin Logan Neosis, or however you say that friggin' name. The $100,000.
Oh yeah, the
Neolith.
Oh yeah, the Neoliths, right?
Yeah, Neolith.
Those are amazing. Those are amazing
speaking of
speakers.
that,
They are amazing. They are cool. I mean, man, they are.
George, you were at M Wave, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. Yep.
I don't think we met. I know we were all running around like crazy there. I think I remember seeing you in like the content creator room or whatever.
Yeah. That whole thing was kind of a blur, like you say. Like we were just kind of running around, and I met so many people. It was just an awesome experience. I was so glad that I was able to make it out to that. That was so cool.
Yeah, you're definitely doing good things on YouTube, especially for a part-time. What you're saying is your part-time job. You already got what, 93, 94 videos?
Maybe. Yeah, actually, that sounds about right. I'm not sure. Yeah, probably.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Where's my cursor here? Present. Sorry, I can't see because I've got you behind my camera here. Share screen.
Yeah, I think it's like 93 videos or somewhere in the 90s.
95. Oh, that one's
95.
mine. Let's go to yours. Let's go to share this one instead. So 93 videos in
wow. Okay.
what about 2 years, 2.5 years, maybe?
Yeah. So years ago, it's kind of, I mean, it's a long story, so I won't bore you with the details, but I actually started the channel back in COVID. And then I made a few home theater related videos, and I actually got a surprisingly good response from them, but then I just kind of dropped it, and I didn't really do anything with it for a couple of years. But one of those videos got picked up by the YouTube algorithm, and it was like August of 2023. It started getting like 50 views a day, and just ticking up every day. And I watched it, I'd log in and I'd look and I'm like, oh wow, it's got another 50 views. And it just kept going and going and going. And so finally in like February of last year, I was like, I really need to revisit this channel, and I should get back into it and start getting serious about it. So yeah, that was kind of the catalyst that got me back into it, was the fact that one video just kind of got picked up and just started getting some traction.
That's funny because I watch a lot of content, totally different. Like I do motorcycle, I do like machining, and like various like security, all kinds of things. Like, and everyone that I watch that's going over like how they became successful or popular, they're all like, man, I made this one video that I spent only like $100 making, and that's the one that's made this whole freaking thing happen. And these people are making, not from YouTube, but like all the sponsors, and that's what people don't understand. Is like, you can get your name out there, but you still have to do the work and sign contracts with vendors and contracts and all this other stuff to make the money. That the money is not coming from YouTube. There's some money that comes from there. I'm not saying there's none, but you have to be so interesting on YouTube to make that pay that it's crazy. But
he's growing, man. He's got 8,000 subscribers.
But my point was, it's always the dumbest, littlest that you don't think is even like, I'm just doing this to do the filler, right? And then all of a sudden you're just like, wait, what? why did that become my most popular video? You're like, damn it.
I'll tell you. So if you pull that back up, I'll show you two videos. So the first one, the one that I'm talking about, that I referenced earlier about the one that got picked up. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, I'm not sure who had their screen.
I got it. I got you.
Oh, you got, okay.
Yeah.
So if you scroll all the way to the bottom, the video that I made that got picked up was the one at the bottom that says worthless. The one that says worthless on the thumbnail.
Oh yeah, the
That
second video, right? Yeah.
And so that one, it like I say, it just started ticking up. So that was the catalyst that got me back into it. But then, Paul, you were talking about like the video that you're like, oh, I'm just making this, like, is this actually going to be anything?
Yeah.
If you scroll all the way to the top, I got contacted by this company that makes HDMI cables, and they wanted me to review their cable. And I was like, okay, it's a cable, but how do I make that interesting? Like, how do I make this something that is actually going to be of value to people? And so I decided to highlight what made this cable unique. And yeah, it's that one right there. Second one from the left. It's the one that says 12K, the upgrade, future proof. That's the one. I just made that like 2 weeks ago, and it just took off. I think it's up to, what is it up? Is it up to
56,000?
60,000.
You had another one down here that's got 71,000.
Yeah.
But I think what George is saying, like, that one's been out for 5 years.
Right.
And okay, it's getting 1,000 views a week. Okay, if it's been out for 5 years, this one's been out for a month or two, and it's like it's almost surpassed a video that's been out for 9 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you're cranking them out here.
No, I hear you, man. 7 days, it's almost surpassed, or whatever the case may be. It's like, what? Like, why? How?
Yeah,
I hear you, man. And then you're trying to replicate that, right? Because you get to that point to where, especially, and here's the hard part: if you had switched over to where that's your job, right? That you can't help it. You're just like, I'm trying to please my audience.
George, do you mind if I steal your signature move here? Because you point at everything here. So do you mind if I steal that?
I stole that from everybody else, so you have at it.
I was just it seems to work for you, so I'm going to steal shamelessly if that's okay.
Absolutely.
I love it. That's funny. It is in like every thumbnail, right? That's like audio, video.
No, you have really great, amazing thumbnails.
No, you absolutely do. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Too.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Good people make good things. That's all it is. That's all it boils down to,
No, you're definitely doing really well. I mean, I don't know. I just this show and then life just takes too much time for me to sit down and edit a video. So, I mean, what is your typical, like if you were to shoot a video, what does it normally take you, like, just say like a 20-minute video, 5 hours, 4 hours to produce and edit and stuff like that?
Yeah, probably about that. Because shooting is like the fastest part.
Right.
It's all the prep leading up to it, and then once you've got the video, then you've got to edit it, and then you've got to get all your B-roll, and you've got to get all your stuff, and then even after the video's done, then you have to render the video. But fortunately I don't have to sit there. The laptop can do that while I'm off doing other stuff. But then once you have that, then you have to go through the process of actually uploading it to YouTube. And that's not it's not complicated, but it's also not simple. Like, there's a lot of steps to it, and it takes time. And then I have to make the thumbnail, and the thumbnail, like,
that's
the most important part.
Uploading to YouTube is the final marketing point, right? Like, okay, who's this for? kids, what's the main title? What do you
Yep.
want it to? It's like, oh, I don't know. Like it's like like do you want it to be HDMI, home theater, cable,
Yeah.
high fidelity, 12K, 8K? What are you basically have to guess? Okay, in the next 3 days, what are people Googling or searching on YouTube for the most?
Yeah.
And it could be completely unrelated to what your video is. And if it pops up with people what they type, it could be, totally different. You could be like, oh, best cable. And, it could be cable from, the Marvel universe. It's like,
Yeah.
what? Like,
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, YouTube in a lot of ways is just kind of a black box. It's like you don't really know how it works, but you just do the best you can and hope for the best.
So, Bobby Digital, any info on M-Wave this year? No M-Wave in 2025.
it is. There is no M Wave this year. It is planned for next year.
Yep, for
Like
2026.
it is confirmed this year. There's no M Wave, but it is planned and will be announced officially next year. I think that is the plan.
They are doing a Kansas City crawl. I think it's full now.
Yeah,
But they are doing a Kansas City crawl in the middle of March, I think. So I'm going to try to get out to that. And
I don't even know if I was accepted because I don't log into the forum all that often.
oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. Is it happening?
I think I'm going to try to do that in audio advice this year. So I've not.
Yeah,
I've
we
not
should
been
go.
audio
We should
advice.
go to audio advice. I think registration is out now. So we
When
can sign
so
up.
we're, audio advice is in
North
Raleigh, North
Carolina,
Carolina.
Raleigh.
North Carolina. Remember, I drove 20+ hours to get there. Or
Totally do
how
that.
many hours?
One of my best friends. I have several best friends, but like best friends, like people that you hang out with and camp with and travel with for like multiple years. One of my best friends lives in Raleigh, so I could freaking probably just I could just say, hey, dude, leave me a key in the mailbox type of deal,
Nice.
Like, that type of friend. And I should do that. So
you're planning to go to any of the shows this year, George?
I want to. I definitely want to. This audio advice show. Do you know when it is? What month?
It's in
It's
August.
usually towards the later portion of the summer.
Okay.
I think. Let me see.
I might shoot for that one. I had actually planned on going for Cedia this year because I just missed it because it was just like a couple months ago, I think. But then I watched some of the videos from other home theater YouTubers that went there, and I was like, oh, maybe
They were underwhelmed.
yeah. I'm like, maybe that's not where I want to put my effort.
but is audio advice home theater?
They did have some theater
It's a
set up.
combo. Yeah,
That's what I'm
combo.
saying.
Combination.
I think that's a matter of like you don't go to like car audio bass competition expecting the most amazing Dolby Atmos experience in a
Right.
car.
Right.
They might have a Dolby Atmos car there that's like, oh, cool, but that's all my point is like,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily about home theater, but audio, and you go there, with the because some of that gear is just.
yeah. It's not a budget
outrageously
friendly.
priced.
It's not a budget friendly. Those are high class,
Mhm.
but I think for what we do, right? For what we do, it's a great place to run into a lot of people who are
Oh
out of
yeah,
the business.
there is
You
nothing
know,
wrong.
it
with
might not be the
any of
best for
that
the average
gear.
consumer out there, but
Mhm.
for those of us who are in like the YouTube space and that kind of stuff, yeah, it's a good place to meet. It's a great show. I enjoy it, but yeah, you're going to see a lot of expensive speakers sit in the hallway, right? So
Don't
and-
touch.
And you're
You
playing.
break it, you buy it.
Yeah. If you break it, just sit down and cry. Because you probably won't be able to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's August 1st through the 3rd. August 1st through the 3rd.
Okay.
It's in Raleigh in the Sheridan Hotel. I've not been. I want to go. I've been to Expona, and Chicago. The only reason I'd go back to that is for the deep dish pizza. But it's just the fact that it's highly 2-channel driven. It's very, very highly 2-channel driven. They did have one when I went there. It was like 2018. They had one home theater set up. Actually, I lied. They had two. One was Emotiva and one was JTR. That was my introduction to JTR. So, but other than that, it's going hotel room to hotel room, basically looking at 2-channel setups. So,
okay.
Uh,
That's what makes M-Wave so unique, to have just 100% focus on home theater. It's just unlike any other show.
Yeah, and just the relationships, right? Every other show, it's business, right?
Yeah.
It's very orchestrated, business. You're going there, you're trying to talk to people. Everyone is serious, trying to sell something or trying to do something. But
you're not gonna get the Croson
there's no
pub
personal
crawl at
you could
Expo, and you might at Raleigh, I know a guy.
You could.
I can figure it out, but
Yeah, no, the best part is meeting, seeing everybody again when you get there, so that's my true, liking of gathering at these shows and stuff like that. The first it was about the gear, and learning about, different stuff. But now that I've been to several of them, it's more just for the
relationships.
The relationships and meeting people.
And trying to see something. Yeah, I think that's part of it for me too. Is
camaraderie.
I've seen a lot of home theaters now. I've seen a lot of gear now that I guess I don't get easily impressed in. Even though my home theater is the cheapest one out there.
It's just like you get to a point to where, it's like, okay, yeah, I've heard a $2 billion theater system. Okay, now I'm going to listen to yours. Yeah, sounds good.
Yes, actually,
I'm sorry, good. I wasn't like, well, I've heard $2 billion friggin' theater systems. I'm sorry. we only get excited, uncontrollable excitement whenever we see things that we've never seen that like combined with all our other internal thoughts that grow our own thought, right? Like whenever it increases our creativity, that's what happens. We get excited, whether it's like, oh, wow. It's like, oh, that's
like building. Would that be like building or fabricating light reflecting carpet?
Yes, exactly. If someone saw that tomorrow, then everyone would be like, dude, we need to do this with our speakers, like our surrounds. We need to do this with our
They would just carpet it with their speakers.
All of the things, right? People get excited about those thoughts. It's like,
but,
oh my God.
But I think it's also,
and that's cool,
I think it's also because when you go to a lot of these shows and you see a lot of home theaters and things, you have a reference point. You have multiple reference points, right? So yes, I've seen some really good, expensive home theaters, and I've got to listen to amazing ones. But even when I go visit some people who don't think their home theaters are really impressive, they don't necessarily have a reference point. And I'm like, dude, I've sat in some more expensive ones, and yours doesn't really sound bad.
Yeah.
You might think those ones are 80% better than yours. It's probably just 30%. Which you can live with, but because they don't have that reference point, there's always that impression that, yours is probably the worst one out there. But yeah, no, No,
Yeah.
no. You have to do
I
a
love
lot of side by side comparisons to be able
Yeah.
to tell.
And most people are the opposite. They're like, oh, they might have the best. It's like, dude, you have the best equipment money can buy. Like,
Why does it still
you can't.
sound like?
What are you chasing at this point?
Yeah,
Well,
like,
I'm kind of in that. You know, I don't have the best speakers. I don't have the best equipment. I have a good processor, I think, but you know, I'm going to steal from Ryan on this one. It's like hashtag hope it don't suck, right? You put all this stuff together and then you're just hoping that it sounds good, right?
Hey,
but
you
you
know
have
what?
a business goal behind what you're doing, though. That's different from
Yeah.
me or the average guy building a home theater,
And
right?
that's right.
You have a business that
that's
is
the way he
based
has
on
it too.
what you're
But
trying to achieve.
yeah, because let's face it, man.
So yes, I hope he doesn't suck.
If you're laying a 50-inch on the table versus a 15, a 50 is going to look more impressive regardless. It doesn't matter if it sucks. Everyone's going to want to go look at the 50 versus the 15.
Yeah.
That's just what it boils down to. And that is a good marketing ploy and stuff like that. But, you know,
Yeah, but it's a place of business, and you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
different from me going to spend the same amount of money just to put a 50-inch just so that, you know, I can get my local buddies to come watch.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It's not the cost benefit ratio doesn't
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Well, and that's
depends.
why I
Except for
changed my
bragging on the
number.
ABS forum.
That's why I changed my number one thing to who's it for.
Mm.
If it's for potential customers, you got to bring them in, right? If it's just for your bros, well, I don't know what I could, you know, something loud, you know, I could bring in a PA system that will destroy any of this home theater stuff by 3 times easily at a third of the cost. Now it's only going to go down to like 50 hertz, but it will destroy in volume.
It'll destroy your eardrums.
$200,000 freaking home theater speaker.
It's gonna destroy your
Yeah,
eardrums, too.
it'll probably shatter windows. It'll probably destroy, you know. So who is it for? You know, it's like, well, I can make everybody shit their pants.
and then your ears get messed up, and then you think that you got to buy more expensive cables so that you can.
Hey, there's nothing wrong. Hey, there's nothing wrong with the little
Little cable jewelry.
cable.
I know, right? Then you got to get floating cables for your speakers, and
Dental floss. You got to put the dental floss down.
then you go outside of the rabbit hole, and now you're in the raccoon hole, because that's a different type of, you know, marketing when it comes to the home theater. But I know, George, we're 1 hour 30 minutes into this. Would you be able to give us a tour of your theater? Maybe,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
use your phone or a tablet, and I'm sure the guys would want. I'm sure everyone is excited. They want to take a look, and
Let me see if I can make this happen here. It's not. I got all my gear here, but let me see if I can.
yeah, that's
I can,
fine. Everyone
it happen.
understands. You know, if you can call in with your phone, or you know,
Yeah. Let me
Or
see.
rotate the camera, man. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
There we
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
Okay.
Look at this.
Let me turn on all the lights so that we can get some better.
So are you using an automation system or?
No. I do have some smart lights, but
Okay.
but you know, I just control them like through an I'm not going to say the word, through that Amazon device over there.
I don't have any of that stuff.
she
so-
probably just listened to you and rolled her
Yeah,
eyes.
that's awesome, bro. I love it.
Let's see here.
And always listening. But yeah, are you using like a regular cam, or are you using a phone? What are you on right now?
So I'm on a phone right now. So let's see
Okay.
if I can.
See if you can switch flip it to the back. It might kick you off, but then you can just reconnect and I'll add you back.
I don't know if it does or not on
It
this.
didn't kick me off. There you go.
I don't think
Oh,
it
okay.
does.
There we
I think the
go.
only reason it kicks Don off because he does it in his
So-
theater, which is no Wi-Fi.
So let me
So-
back up here. So
Let's
this
start off
is
with the room. We'll start off with the room dimensions.
Yeah, good question. So it is 14 and a half feet wide from side to side. I got 14 and a half feet, and then it is 22 feet from the front all the way to the back wall.
That's pretty large.
Pretty good
Friggin',
size.
that's nice.
Yeah.
It looks so much smaller from here.
Let's
Like
see if I
as
can.
far as
Yeah.
like
There you go. No,
there.
you go.
Oh yeah,
Wide
that gives a
angle. Okay,
little
now
bit
it looks
better
way
perspective.
bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the same problem I have. You know, I'm like, I always compare me and my buddy Ton. I'm like, his screen looks twice the size of mine, and it's only his is.
I like the color of the
stairs.
walls too.
That's
Oh, thank you.
large ass screen. Yes, What color is that? That's some sort of like blue gray. It almost looks like.
Yeah. So in with artificial lights, it kind of looks a little green. With sunlight, it kind of looks a little blue. And what it is, it's the color name is Mount Etna from Sherwin-Williams.
Okay.
It's nice.
Well, thank you. Yeah, my wife actually picked that out. I told her I wanted a dark color that wouldn't reflect much light, and so she went through the color chips and picked this one out. So
Very nice.
she also picked out the movie posters, so she likes stuff like that.
So we got a quick question, right? And I'm sure you'll get to it, but do you prefer the sofa or do you prefer the recliners?
I prefer the recliner. So this is something that when I was designing, you asked what I would do differently. If I had it to do over again, now knowing what I know now, I would set the main listening position right here. And I would basically, I would make this room, I would do away with the riser, and I would just have a single row of 3 chairs. I would put those 3 chairs basically right here, and then the bar there. I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's a bar back there.
Yep.
And then I would put the bar just kind of maybe like right where the chairs are, and that's what I would do differently, seating wise. But it works out. It's fine. This where they're at here, that middle chair is my main listening position, and it's about 17 feet to the screen. So I could stand to have it be a little bit closer, but it works. It's all right. And then you probably noticed that aside from the projector, there's no equipment in here.
Yeah.
And so the equipment is up here in the front. We've got this closet here that opens up. And so everything is in here. So I've just got some discs. And then this is my equipment rack right here. And I've got this at the top. I've got my Blu-ray player. I've got my Apple TV. And then this is a Zadoo right here.
Yep.
I really like that. And then my amps. Those are my 3 Outlaw Audio monoblocks. There's my AVM 70. My 3 crowns. And then my Buckeye.
What are you using the Buckeye for?
The Buckeye drives my 4 height channels.
Okay. So did you go with the Purify modules in those, or what did you go with in this?
Yep. It's the Purify. It's the 252 NP 252. I think. Can't remember the model name off the top of my head, but I think that's what it was. So yeah, that's my room. That's
Very
that's
nice. Can you turn back towards the screen? Does your screen has a border on it, or is it just borderless?
No,
Okay.
It does have a border. It's got like a black velvet kind of border that's about 3 inches, maybe 3.5 inches wide.
Yeah, it looked like it blended in with the wall there with some of the lighting, so it definitely the border disappeared. So I thought it was like one of those Stewart screens that doesn't have a border on them.
Yeah. That's one of those things. I kind of like the border, but at the same time, if it didn't have a border, I could have made the screen even bigger. because it pretty much takes up the entire wall. It is there's just not much room left. It goes
And what was the
almost all way.
size again?
145 inch. diagonal.
45.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's 16 by 9, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Very nice. I love
The room
those.
looks so clean. Where are your in-wall speakers? I couldn't even see them.
Yeah. So here, let me show
Oh,
you.
they're painted the same as the room.
Yes. Yep. Yep. So like here's the MPX. If I can get it off with one hand here. So those are my wides right there.
Very nice.
And then the obviously the LCRs are behind my screen, so I can't
Right.
see those because I can't get that off. But then these are my KEF height speakers right there. Those are my bookshelves. Which is I get a lot of funny comments about those people. I get a mixed reaction. Let's put it that way. But they disappear when the lights go off. When the movie starts, they disappear. Yeah. And from here, I'll sit down in the main listening position. Got the screen, and then they're up there. So again, this goes back to one of those things that, knowing what I know now about angles and proper speaker placement, I would probably bring them back. It'd probably be about 2 feet, maybe this direction towards me.
Okay.
Just to kind of bring that angle just a little bit up a bit, but they work. And then I've got the other height speakers up here.
Yeah, you could point those tweeters, right?
Yep. Yeah, and they don't. They're already pointed. You probably can't even tell because they don't have much movement. But I do have them angled as much as they can be.
Right. Okay.
So, but these, based on the measurements I've taken, the frequency response from here, sitting here, to those speakers, the ones in the ceiling, is quite good.
That's awesome.
Those sound really good.
Yeah, so I had a problem putting my Martin Logans in. I double drywalled the ceiling.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the ears didn't stretch over 2 pieces of 5/8.
Oh.
So I had to go in and cut a piece of the just put my roto zip saw to where it would cut the one piece out, just the length of the 5/8 drywall, and I had to make a bigger circle around the original hole, just before the ears. It was not fun. I was quite angry with Martin Logan that they wouldn't fit, give enough screw for the dog ears to fit over 2 pieces of drywall. So,
oh man, you had to make a bigger hole, and I never had that problem. It's always fit.
I could see you cooking over there with that one.
You just slapped him on a plate and spoon. And...
Yeah, exactly. I saw him cooking.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, he's bragging over there.
Yeah. No, I was surprised though, because you would think that, they would give you enough. Because what happens is when you put those in ceilings in, they have like a little lever that moves over when you screw them. It's called a dog leg, and then it attaches the speaker underneath, and the screw itself just wasn't long enough to go over two sheets of drywall, 2 5/8 sheets of drywall.
You do know those screws are not like proprietary. You can get a longer screw.
Yeah, then I would have to take it out, and I would have had to gone to the hardware store and or whatever and do all that. I was under a time crunch today, man, so it was easier just to. I mean, I probably ripped a 1/2 inch, maybe.
He likes ripping it. That's I wanted to damage that hole. I wanted to just go in there and just
Well, I did it
Let
from the
know
top.
I was there and it fits.
You can't even tell that I did it because I did it from the top. So
Oh yeah, you got to leave it.
You're still gonna cover everything, right?
yeah, everything's covered. So
Yeah, so
Yep.
it'll be just fine. So you do your own calibration, George?
Yeah.
How you enjoying doing calibration with
We're talking audio, right? Or are we talking video?
Audio. I assumed audio.
Yeah, I assume that too, but I was like,
Yeah, I've done all the calibration, and man, I've calibrated this theater here probably 24 times. Every time I change anything, you know, I swap out the seats, or I move stuff around, or I change the acoustic panels, or everything. You know, anytime.
20,000 measurements in RU, and it's like, I
Yeah.
still wait. What is this?
Yeah.
What is this? I'm the same way. It's
Yep.
like,
So
what does this mean? What are they trying to tell me here? Yeah, I hear you. That's
Yeah.
awesome, though.
yeah,
I'm
and
the
then-
exact opposite. I set and forget.
yeah.
It's like, no, I don't want to even look at the measurement, let alone.
I always second guess myself. That's my biggest challenge, right? I haven't gotten to the point where I can do it and say, I always feel like I did something wrong. So I always have to reach out to Paul. I'm like, can you help me check? And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And I'm not the best person because I'm like, I've done so many measurement. I'm like, dude, like I've seen all the squiggles, and it's like, all these squiggles is like, to be crisp is a male measurement contest. And you know what? You can't tell the difference between 5 and 12 because guess what? It doesn't matter.
I
Sorry.
think sometimes we overestimate our ears' ability
Yeah.
to distinguish.
Yeah, there are, and then there's the 1 or 2 people out there that do specific things, right? Like, because in communications, I would install the communication systems, and like a phone ring. Back in the day when I was on site all the time, I could literally tell you the difference between like 20 or 30 different models of phones. I could tell you the model number from 30 feet away if I heard it ringing, because I listened to it not once. I listened to it 20, 30, 50, 60 times a day for years. There is so many nuances and at that point, it doesn't matter because how many people are doing that? How many people are listening to 5 different things models of speakers every day, all day? What is it supposed to sound like? What is it, like our conversation, or if we're talking live in a room, right? Like, how do you know me, like someone in person versus on the phone, right? Okay. That person on the phone, they could be in 5 different rooms and they're going to sound a little different. If you've only heard them once live and then you pick the 5 other rooms, you might not wait. What? Who is this? What? Like, you might sort of recognize it, but you're not going to just call it out, But if you listen to that person call you 1,000 times, you're going to know immediately, oh, yeah, hey, what's up? Because your brain's cataloging every single scenario. It's wild. Where psychoacoustics is a big thing, it really is. So, and everybody has their preference. So there's truly no wrong or right answer in all of it. So,
Yeah.
So Scadio says there's a lot of good deals going on. I did not hear that. The S90D 2100. I did hear some interesting news that Samsung lost a shit ton of money
Really?
on their panels. Yeah, they're talking about getting rid of the OLED panels. So they lost a lot of money.
Well, LG's been doing it for a lot longer. So
yeah.
They just need to go pay for that Dolby Vision license, man. I can almost guarantee that thing keeps a lot of people from their TVs too, man.
That is
You
the
would not
thing.
see me buy a Samsung, you know.
I still love my Samsung. It's still got 3D.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
but that's why, right? It has
Mm.
something that most newer TVs don't have, right?
Yeah.
So
That is a thing. That is a
but
thing.
there's no way in 2025 I'm going to buy a TV and it doesn't have Dolby, regardless of whether there's quality Dolby Vision out there. I just want it.
It's the new marker, like the DB wars. Now we have the capability wars. Oh, does it have Dolby Vision and HDR? Does it have HDR10 and Dolby Vision? Does it have, they have to come up with something new to keep it going, and what is that next thing? They'll try to lower the price of like that, probably not this year, but maybe next year. It's like, okay, now we're going to make the, 6 height channels, more affordable, but we're going to come out with 8 height channels now, and that'll be the next higher end tier, So something. It's all about numbers and figures and capabilities,
Just so I can keep our viewership going, I gotta have some hate on the show. Kaleidoscape,
Oh God.
Den of Thieves out already.
It's already out.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Already
Den of
out.
Thieves?
Yeah.
That's an old movie. Wait, what?
No,
No,
the new one, Den of
The
Thieves
Den
2.
of Thieves 2.
and Moana too.
See, I didn't
Oh,
even
yeah,
watch
well,
Den of
already.
Thieves 1, and so apparently
Den of Thieves is a good movie, man. You're gonna need to watch
I
that.
haven't seen that.
It's worth watching.
Yeah,
It's pretty.
absolutely.
I actually, funny story. I had a viewer recommend that movie to me. I had never even heard of it, and somebody recommended it to me, and they're like, "You got to check out the sound in this movie." And so I watched it, and I was impressed. It was good.
I
So-
don't think the disc is out yet, but you can stream it. I think Apple and Co. But
Yeah.
Let me.
Waiting for the
You know
disc.
what? Honestly, I probably have it. I just haven't watched it.
He's
yeah,
gonna
knowing
go
you, you
check it out.
probably
It's
have
highly
it.
possible. As a collector, I probably have it and just don't even know it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I looked at because the new movies drop on Tuesday on everywhere, obviously, but Kaleidoscape, and I was like, man, Den of Thieves already. I just hit the theater not too long ago.
Oh yeah, I do have that movie.
You need to watch it.
I have it on my server right now.
And
Apparently I need to
if you're
watch
into
it.
scary movies, Azrael, I heard that is a masterpiece
What is it
from
called?
beginning to end. Azrael.
Mm.
Oh,
Move your phone down. Oh no, there it is. No, I see it.
Azrael.
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 Okay, it's in the middle.
Okay.
Huh.
Let me,
Isn't that like the name of like one of the archangels? I don't know which side of the sphere, but that's a familiar name.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Azrael is one of those, what a deity
Yeah.
type of
from what
angel.
what they were saying on you ever check out Brightside Home Theater?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what they were saying was that's like a reference disc from beginning to end, and if they'd have gotten to it, it would have probably made their top 2.
Wow, really?
Yeah, so
Well,
Make
now
sure you guys
I've got to
check it out.
check it out.
yeah,
That's what's cool about some of
Azrael
those
is the
scary
angel of
movies,
death.
right?
Yeah, I know what
That's what I love about those scary. I want someone to make a movie where the music is only in the left and right channel,
Oh boy.
the ambiance. That's it.
Oh boy.
And then everything else, voice, they can
And the
blend the
surround?
music in the center, but all the sounds and sound effects are in all the other speakers,
Mm.
like total, like just make an object for everything else. So
And just put the score on the left and the right.
yeah, like because you're, that's your main speakers, is like that's your bed layer, that's your overall, because everyone's left and right speakers are generally the biggest and best speakers, right? And then everything else is just like for effects and drama. And how would that it may sound like total garbage, you know. Heat that now I know.
$9.99, man. They got some killer pricing going on for some for some movies. $9.99 for Heat. All 3 movies of The Equalizer for $29.99 4K.
Dude, I have like 300 versions of The Equalizer, man.
You'd like the Queen Latifah one the best, don't you?
No. I would not publicly.
I haven't seen that one yet. I don't want that to ruin my whole. There's a movie, right? There's a movie with her in it, right? Not the series, because the series is based on her, right? But there's a movie with her in it too.
No, it's a series.
No, it's a series.
She hasn't been.
I'm just poking fun. I mean, I couldn't watch that.
It's horrible, actually. I enjoyed the first couple of episodes, but then I'm like,
so they never had a movie Equalizer with her in it. I thought because I can never tell, because I'm like, is that, you know, you watch some of the trailers, but it's like, is this a trailer for a series or a movie?
Yeah, it's probably the trailer. Yeah, but I caught the first couple of episodes, and then I was like, you know what? I never finished it. So, you know, at some point it just got cheesy for me.
So those of you that don't know, Abe is Senor Dusty. He says that Heat is the best gun scene battle. So it is a good demo scene for sure.
Nice.
So let's
yeah, I have so much backlog of movies, man.
Right? I know. I'm like, well, apparently I'm gonna have to watch Den of Thieves again. That's probably one of those movies that I'm like, I've never seen that, and then I'll start watching it, and I'll be like,
and I'm like, oh, I've seen it, and I'll be like,
oh yeah, and I'll know every detail. Jessica hates me for that. We did watch a movie. I forgot. I'm not even going to say the movie, but it had Ryan Reynolds and some other actor in it. She said, oh, let's watch that, and that's the movie we ended up watching. I forgot what it was, but it was on one of the, you know, broadcast IP things, and we at 15 minutes in, I was like, wait, we've seen this, haven't we? And she's like, I think we have.
I've done that before too.
Yeah. It was The Rock. It was The Rock and Ryan Reynolds, and he was Ryan Reynolds stole some, you know, whatever, it was in some museum thing or whatever.
Oh, it was like Red One or something.
Yes. That's the one I watched. Yeah. That's why I didn't remember it, because I'd already seen it, and I was just like, we already seen this. And but
that one's not that old either. So
she was like, oh, we gotta watch this, and I'm like, all right. Ryan Reynolds is pretty funny. I can go ahead and watch another Ryan Reynolds movie that I don't know what. Yes, it was like Red One or something like that. That's what I ended up watching. I was like, I know I watched another movie, but I don't remember what it was. And that's what it was, because we already seen it before. But
anything that you can announce that you got upcoming on the channel?
That's a good question. So I am, like I say, I've been working on my tiny home theater project, and I'm just about to wrap that one up as far as in its current form. But I do have some stuff in the works, but it's nothing solidified yet. So I don't want to. I don't want to say it.
Don't be like Don and announce things. Every time fucking Don announces something, it does not happen. It was like and it's not even a Don. Like it's Don announces, "Oh, we're having this person from blah blah blah." Oh, well, never mind. That place burnt down. I mean, not to make light of anything, but yeah, that's Don.
Oh,
That's
man.
how he's like, "Oh, such and such is gonna come," but well, no, he's not now.
I think we do have a guest for next week too.
Yes, we do.
Don't
But
jinx it.
we're not going to announce it though.
No doubt.
Yeah,
Please
yeah,
don't.
you just surprise. Build it up, man. Just say like, "Hey, this is like," say everything but the person's name to make it official, so no one knows. Like, well, they got 1 million subscribers and blah blah blah. Do that, but don't actually announce it officially.
There's way too much evidence to actually show that when Don announces it, they don't show up. So let's skip it. There's literally way too much evidence.
So you got this upcoming possible thing with the tiny home theater.
Yeah, like I say, I kind of treat it as kind of my lab, and so I've got some potential stuff in the works that will be pretty cool if it comes through, if it happens, and I think people will be interested in seeing it, because it's not something that you would expect in a tiny theater. So so I'm hoping that happens.
Okay.
So
That's good.
Nice.
and when I do it, if hopefully I'm able to do it. If I do, I'll announce in the video. I'll say, this is what I was teasing back in our live stream. So
That's
so
awesome.
you'll know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Definitely.
So any other products for review or anything like that you can give us a skinny on?
Somebody asked me. Yes or no. No, the RBH sub is not ported. It is sealed. Rich little poor boy asked me that question.
Yep.
Yeah. So for products in for review, so I'm planning to do kind of like I've had them for close to a month now. Maybe a little bit over a month. I've had the RBH speakers. So now that I've been listening to them for a while, I think I'm probably going to do like a 2-month wrap up, kind of like, hey, this is, now that I've had some time to really work with these things and get them dialed in, kind of my final thoughts on them. So that'll be good. Product, as far as product, I've got, it's the big one that I was talking about earlier. So yeah, I've got something in the works, so that hopefully that happens. It's funny, the cable company, the one that did the HDMI, sent me the HDMI cables that people really like.
Rui?
Yeah. Rui Pro.
That's what I have.
Oh, it is. Okay, great.
Yep. Not that exact cable, but
I just bought one.
Oh, nice.
Some people have complained about the heat from the transceivers on them. I haven't had that problem, but they do feel warm. So I don't know, but I haven't had any issues with mine. But just the brand and a couple of the channels that did some video content on them, I was like, okay, that seems affordable enough or good enough to where I don't want to spend like $1,000 on a friggin'
all my HDMIs that are longer than 20 foot are
but I get it. I mean, I'll spend $100 or a couple $100 on a cable that's a long distance. I used to run cable, fiber, and all kinds, so I understand what it takes. But yeah, I have that brand in mind. That's what's feeding my Epson 6050 right now.
I have like 10 of their fiber optic cables. They probably need to send me one. So Rui, if you're listening, send me one. I'll give it away but yeah, I use them for almost anything longer than 20, 25 foot. Yeah, I just use their fiber, and I haven't had to replace any of them. They work just fine, and I have close to 10 of them. So
nice.
All I can say is, man, if your HDMI cable is overheating, I feel sorry for the rest of your equipment.
Oh yeah, that's
It's like,
yeah.
God damn, like
It
really?
was super
Like,
loud.
don't get me wrong, it gets warm. I get it. I get it. But damn, if that's the one part that burns, like, sheesh, I don't want to be your amps or your processor. Like
So,
those things are
Senor,
probably hitting 300
Senor
degrees.
says he subscribed to your channel there.
Oh,
George.
thank you, Senor Dusty. I look forward to seeing you on there. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good. So let's go back to that question because we got a couple minutes left here. What qualifies as a home theater? So let's
was
go
a
back to
different
that
question, but
question.
it is a good
What-
question. It's
What
like
what gear do you have that qualifies you as a home theater?
Yeah,
So
what
I'm going to
is-
start with me. I think you have to have, in my personal opinion, I think you have to have a receiver. It could be a cheap receiver. It could be, whatever.
So you're saying audio. That's
audio
audio.
wise.
You're saying audio because a receiver doesn't mean anything. Like you could have a
Right.
prepo, well, you're saying the audio.
AVR.
The
AVR,
audio is what makes a home theater.
So you're not using your
Well,
TV
no,
speaker,
because
right?
if you have a sound bar, I don't
Right.
consider that making it a home theater. I think it starts with at a
Yeah, that's what I'm
minimum of
saying.
an
Like
AVR
a sound, a receiver. Yeah, audio. Like not. Yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying. Like,
something that you can calibrate.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So
well, let me clarify. When you said so, is what you're defining is spatial audio. So
surround sound. Yeah. Well, I mean,
surround sound is what makes a theater, right? Like spatial audio. No matter what.
but you
I'm
can
not
do
talking
that with a
about-
Bose sound bar too, though, right? I mean, you can have a.
You can do
subwoofer,
that too. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I'm saying. That's where I'm trying to like. You could do that with a sound bar. Like I'm not so bougie that if I sat in a room and closed my eyes and didn't know, and I had objects flying around me,
Mhm.
I would be like, all right, damn, yeah, that sounds good. It might be a 6x8 room, but what?
That right there.
Mm.
That comment right there.
See, that's why
answers
he's
all our
that's why he's a
questions.
30-year professional.
Yeah.
That answers the question.
But that's the thing. We're getting into semantics because I totally agree with what he's saying, right? Because to me, I don't even have a home theater, right? Like I have my couch with $50,000-$60,000 worth of friggin' equipment surrounding it. That's not a home theater.
And that
That's
that
not
can
a
fall
theater at
into a
all.
media room.
I have,
or-
yeah, with a 150-inch screen. Okay, I have a 150-inch screen. Okay, I could have a 150-inch screen with a sound bar. I could have a 150-inch screen with a mono speaker. Does that make a home theater? I could have a computer monitor with 10,000 watts of sound.
Yeah.
Does that make a home theater? But yeah, I see what he's saying. It's like you got your media room, you got your home theater, and you got your home cinema, right? And that to me, I'm not trying to get to that much delineation, like of each one of those. But I do understand, and I actually kind of agree with that. Yeah, in my aspect, I don't have a theater. I have an entertainment space with, Dolby Atmos. Does that make it a theater? No. I have like my front row, which is my couch, and then I have a bar area, which is in essentially my kitchen, and yeah, it's not, you're not getting the MLP in the bar area. You're still, now I have moved my height surrounds way behind me, but I didn't Atmos, but I haven't moved my actual surrounds, my rear surrounds behind that area because I just can't. I physically just can't do that. And I haven't done a dedicated space for that. So I guess that's the question. Back to the question, what makes a home theater, and do you have a home theater or not? I don't want to do, what home cinema, home theater, home, entertainment space. What would you call, if the average person, not knowing anything that we know, would come into your space that doesn't care about audio, doesn't care about video, doesn't care about any of that, would they say, dude, they have a friggin' theater in their friggin' house?
Yeah, they will. I think they will.
That's the question,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because yes, technically, in our world, I don't have a theater. I have an entertainment space. I don't have a theater. Yeah, okay, whatever. I have.
I mean, from a gear perspective, right? You do have a theater.
Correct.
So from because that is part of what in our
But
in our
no,
little
but
bubble.
the gear doesn't. But that's the thing. The gear doesn't make the theater, because if I had a Epson and I was only projecting a 60-inch screen, well, I don't even know if the screen can go that small, and 2 speakers. Okay, I could have a friggin' barcode that's melting the hole in the wall. But like,
that's why I said I think it starts with a receiver, right? That's why.
Yeah,
I think,
that's what I'm saying, and I agree. I honestly, if it's just blanket nothing, what makes a home theater that in your house? What makes you feel like you're at a theater in your home? It is the sound. Right. I would have to say first and foremost. Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly with that, because you're already watching the screen. You can get closer to the screen. You can do whatever you want. But until you start having, from TV or whatever you have, sound, a one sound mono to bass, left, right, and center, and then even just surrounds. You don't have to have
minimum 5.1.
Yeah, right? Yeah. If you have a 5.1 system, yeah, I agree. That is technically that's a home theater. Now, because that's what brings that experience, because when you go to a theater, that's what it is, right? You're experiencing that, but then beyond that, it's more of a social thing, right? It's like, because technically it goes back to who's it for, right? Because when you go to a theater, most of the time you're not going by yourself. Sometimes you do. I've totally done that. Don't judge me.
I go to theaters by myself too.
But but a lot of the times you're going with other people, and it's experience. You can have 10, you can have 20, you can have 30 people sitting watching the same thing, right? And then afterwards, as long as you're all good friends, right? You're talking about the movie and like, oh my God, yeah, when that spaceship went, the whole bass, and they talk about the audio a lot of the times. And
I don't know about you, but going to watch John Wick with your enemies might be fun.
So how about you, George? What do you think categorizes a home theater? What do you think the minimal requirement would be for to call it a home theater?
Yeah,
or a theater at home.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I like your point about it being a receiver, because a receiver opens up a flexibility and a capability that goes, it's like light years ahead of like a sound bar or the TV speakers. It gives
Unless you got the Nakamichi Dragon, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, that. Yeah.
assume we're talking about basic sound bars. So totally basic sound bars. I agree with that. You need a receiver, but there's sound bars that are way expensive that have 5.1. But yeah,
I mean, RBH makes a killer sound bar.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But we're talking about your pick it up at Walmart. Your subwoofer and your sound bars in the same box, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty tough for a sound bar.
And I would say, what, aside from the sound quality, I would say what distinguishes that, a home theater in a box versus what I would describe as an actual home theater is is what is the target market? Who is the target customer? If you're looking to target somebody who doesn't want, they don't want to have to think about it, they don't want to have to do anything. All they want to do is take it out of the box, set it on the shelf, and have it play. That's not a home theater. A home theater is something that you calibrate, that you tweak, that you adjust, and you fine tune it, and you make it fit with all these different, audio formats and like speaker configurations, etc., and where it has that flexibility. I in my mind, that's what makes the difference between a home theater or not, because a lot of people, they really love the home theater hobby and they really get into it, and they live in an apartment and they only have a 5.1 because that's all they can do. And it's kind of insulting for somebody to come in and say, that's not a home theater. Like, what are you doing? Like, but their intention is to educate themselves and to be able to make the system sound better. Like for them, it really is a passion. It is a hobby. And so I would say for that person, that is a home theater.
Exactly. I agree with you. Ike, what about you, sir? What do you think?
I agree with what George just said, right? It's I think once you meet that speaker, I think minimum of 5.1, just to give you some sense of surround, right? And then I guess the other factors that you can put, making it something that you enjoy, even a popcorn, something that, that you can put together where the environment is nice for you just to enjoy it. I think the definition has changed, now that it's become more common than it used to, so yeah, I'm not going to go to somebody's house with their bar and tell them, oh, you don't have a home theater, right? So yeah, I think the space is big enough to be accommodating to the different flavors, but I think it's going to be about the experience, right? So if you have a sound bar, I would encourage you to try to upgrade to a 5.1. So it's not necessarily that
they could have 5. I mean, they have 5.1 sound bars.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have a home theater, but you can improve the experience in a way that is entirely different.
Let me ask it in a different context, right? Let's ignore the home.
Hold on. Before that thought, if you'd like to show off your theater, I got a segue here. Please email us at hometheaterhublive@gmail.com. Go ahead. Continue with your thought.
Regardless of what type of theater you have.
Correct.
So separate the conversation from your willingness to come on the show, right? Because we don't want to discourage anyone from coming on the show based on these types of conversations.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No. Well, and that's where I was actually funny that you mentioned that. So theater, like home theater versus theater, right? Everybody knows everyone delineates that. Everybody calls their theater at home a home theater. Okay. What are your favorite things? Ignore your home theater. You don't even have one. You never had one. It doesn't exist. What's your favorite things about going to a theater?
I mean,
the big screen. The big screen. The big screen for me, man.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's absolutely. That is one of the things. Yeah. Absolutely. So, because that's where I think people get caught up in things, right? It's like, is it the audio? Is it the screen? Is it and to me, like, and where I was going with that is like, ignore the home aspect, right? Because hey, when you go to a theater and experience that, on a minimal budget, although when I used to be able to go to a theater for $1.25. Now it's like $15, I think, to go to theater. First of all, yes, I do. I love it on the big screen because that's what they used to say. Oh, did you see it on the big screen? They didn't even call it some places didn't even say theater. They called it, oh, did you see it on the big screen?
Big screen, yeah.
Right. The audio has always been a thing.
I don't go to a theater without Atmos. I will not.
See, and I don't
not
care
go,
about
I
Atmos
will
or
not go to
but
a
that's
commercial
that's a
theater
more
without
recent
Atmos.
experience, right?
yeah,
In the
yeah,
80s,
yeah.
in the early 90s,
I
you
don't
hadn't heard
even.
about
I'm
Atmos.
not. I love the audio, but only honestly, I like out of all the because I've done the whole watching. I'm a nerd. I've watched like 30, 40 minutes of a movie with all my bed layers unplugged, and I'm like, wow, this is what I paid for. Like, and people even without the little icons moving around and showing you how amazing it is, until you've done that, don't talk to me about and that's annoying, and that's a super Uber. You got to have a lot of spare time to friggin' do that. But on what I would say are like the top 4 Atmos movies that every friggin' person says is amazing, you listen to those and you're just like, what the fuck? Are you serious? Like, that is what is made this whole genre of Atmos. Even then, it's like, oh, wow. But I digress. Back to the, I like the big screen. Like, we all love going to the big screen and we're seeing all the big action because it feels more immersive, right? Because it's gigantic. It's bigger than life. It's bigger than life, right? And then the audio is loud, right? It's immersive. It's immersive audio, whether that's the bass, whether that's the surround effects. And I'll be honest, with going to cinema, a lot of it's so loud, the immersion on the surround isn't really that. I like that at home better because all cinemas are so much louder for me. I've never experienced like, oh, I hear something going around me. It's so friggin' loud. I'm like, okay, it's just all a blur. Where if I listen to that same movie at home, I'm like, oh, wow. Holy shit,
I actually have.
Like, wow. Like, oh my God, what? I didn't know that did that. I watched this on the big screen and I didn't notice it did that because a lot of times they had it maxed out.
Well, they're also calibrating for 200 seats versus.
Exactly. Yeah.
You might be sitting at the very worst one.
Yeah. Well, I like to sit as close to the screen because I like the bigger screen. So maybe I'm all about the screen size. But then I sit like 1/3 back. But then the other thing is like the people, like, and that's tough because especially it's like how many people. What's the largest crowd you've gone with personally? Except for like, I'm not counting like home. I'm not counting like the KC home theater crawl where, you got like 50 people that come from out of town or 20 people from out of town. And then all of them go to watch a movie. That doesn't count because it's a collaborative
put together event. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not, I'm talking just carte blanche, like, hey, your buddies want to go watch a movie that's supposed to be really popular that everybody likes. What's the largest group you've done? I'm like
probably 5 or 6 at the most.
Well, not more than that probably because I've gone with like my family, like my mom.
Well, nobody likes me, so I had to pay for
brother, sister, me, their, and all their wives. So, at most I've done like maybe 12 people, going to a theater movie, which is a lot, that's a lot of people, but I like the camaraderie and going out with, those people. But then beyond that, it is a lot of the, you got the popcorn and you got the drinks and you got all that stuff, right? So a lot of that stuff matters. So that's to me the theater, like the theater experience, So now translating that back to home theater, like, but before you translate that back, what is it like a memorable, like, you went to a theater, like a theater. What do you call a theater experience, right? That's what people don't ask. What is a theater experience? Ignore all the equipment, ignore everything, a theater. What is a theater experience for you? Not at home.
Expensive
then-
popcorn. That's what it is for me. They eat as
Hey.
much popcorn before I go.
Now,
That-
you can't go to a movie now without
That
spending
is
$100,
absolutely.
man.
That's not even a joke. That is, I kid you not. That is probably one of the best answers, right? Because everyone's like, every image of every theater is like the theater popcorn.
Oh, I'm still trying to master the theater popcorn at my house.
Yeah.
so.
Absolutely. Hey, that's definitely not even. That's probably one of the best answers, to be honest.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we've come up on time now. It's, 2 hours on the clock. We don't want to keep George up way too longer than normal. And if we let Paul and Don go, we're going to be here
Oh
till
yeah, that's
2 a.m. So, but yeah, I think it's been a wonderful, show having you on the podcast today, George. You, like we tell all our guests, you have a link. You're always welcome to stop by anytime. If we're live and you're bored, just hit the link. You don't even need to ask me. You just come on and stay as long as you can, right? So
Oh, well,
you
thank
don't
you.
always have to stay to the end of the show. You're welcome to.
Yeah, we like to run this like a
Pop in,
Zoom show. Pop in,
know.
pop out. Stuff
Yeah,
like
You
Nice.
that.
pop in for 15 minutes and leave, and that's fine. But
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
thank you so much for having me on. This has been awesome. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, we love meeting everyone and all people in the theater hobby. It is such a small group. People
Yeah.
don't realize how small it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for those of you that aren't subscribed to George's channel, make sure you visit him at Theater at Home on YouTube. You have any socials, any other Instagram, Facebook, anything like that, George, that you want to plug?
I actually just have the YouTube channel. So, Ike's got it up there on the screen.
I don't want to cover your face, but yeah, I'll put it back up.
Yeah,
Go
if
ahead.
you just go to YouTube and just search Theater at Home, it should come up. So, there it is.
Very
George
good.
Theater at Home. Yep.
Well, definitely appreciate you joining us. As Paul said a second ago, we really enjoy having people that are successful in YouTube join us, and you're definitely rising up there in the quickly too. So I'm going to have to pick your brain as far as what I need to do. I think it starts with
love
just
it.
posting a video. So.
Yeah, like actually doing it. Like, I actually have to do it. I can't just think it. Million subscribers. What? Why don't I? What happened? Why don't I have a million subscribers yet?
Well, once again, if you would like to be a guest on the show, please send us an email at hometheaterhublive@gmail.com. And until the next video, we'll see you next time.
Yep.
Thank you.
Had a good time.
See you guys. Thank you so much.